Ravens fans, I'm joined by Ravens Assistant General Manager Eric DeCosta. Eric, I know this week's really busy, so thank you for sitting down with us. Just what are you trying to accomplish over the week here in Indianapolis at the Combine?
Well, I think the biggest thing is just getting a chance to see the players, to meet with the players, to get really a feeling for who the players are as people, as players. We get a chance to work them out, put them through some drills. We get a chance to see all the players compete during the same drills, to compare all the different players, as well as really get a chance to just spend time with the guys. The coaches get a chance to see the players for the first time. We get a chance to see these guys again, maybe for the second time, maybe for the first time. In case of the juniors that we haven't met with, we get a chance to spend time with these guys, ask them some questions about their family background, school, college experience, playtime, etc. And then we try to leave here and really we have a sense for who they are as players. We go back and watch the tape, and that's the next part of the process.
So Eric, number 6 pick, it's been so long since the Ravens have had this high of a pick. More pressure or more excitement to be picking this high?
Well, I think we're excited. You know, the quality of player at the top of the draft is very, very substantial. We haven't picked this high for some time. We've done it in the past. We know what it takes to evaluate these guys. But the chance to really bring in an impact player, I think, who can help us right away is very appealing.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Is there more of a sense that you'll be able to get more of an impact player? I mean, when you're picking more in the 17, 20, 32, in that range, it's tough to find a guy. But is there more of an expectation that you can find somebody that can come in right away and make a contribution?
Well, that's the plan. You know, if we do our job the right way, that's what should happen. You know, I feel like we know who these players are at the top of the draft. We've spent a lot of time on these guys. There's a lot of talent at the top of the draft, and we see some guys who can come in right away, contribute, and be impact players for us.
How good is this draft? I mean, when you look at the body of players, not just the players at the top, but the depth throughout.
We think it's significant. We think with the influx of the junior class this year, we see an additional round basically of draftable players. So, you know, somewhere between the 3rd and 4th round, we feel like there's a pool of players that really bolster this draft and make it very, very deep.
So, I know that you love picks. You and Ozzy love them. But when you have this high of a pick, is there any sense or any thought to say, it's so rare to be picking this high, I don't want to give that one up? How do you balance those things?
Well, it's risk versus reward. You have to look at who's available when you pick, what your options might be, what another team is offering, and make a decision. You know, that you always want to get a good player, first of all. So we're at 6, we have a really good chance to get an impact guy. It just depends on who's available when we pick, how far we have to go back, what we can accumulate, those players as well compared to the player that we could get, and we spend a lot of time talking about it.
Now, wide receiver, Ozzy has said that you guys would like to add 1 or 2 players at that spot, whether that's in free agency or through the draft. What is the talent level at the wide receiver position, and do you think you could get a guy, I'm not saying necessarily there's an A.J. Green in this year's draft, but is there a playmaking kind of receiver that you could get in this year's class?
No doubt. I think the last couple of years we've seen receivers come into the league and contribute right away, which is a little bit different than it was 10 or 15 years ago. We see a lot of these guys now come in and catch 40 passes, 50 passes as rookies and be significant contributors. And looking at this year's draft, we see the same thing. We see good players who can come in right away and contribute. I think the task for us is to find the right guy, and that's ability, that's personality, that's background, that's durability, football intelligence. All these different factors play together, and that's how we're going to find the right guy.
So I know if I were to ask you what position you want, you're not going to tell me. But this is a perfect scenario, dream world here. What position, best player available, what position is that's going to be available at number 6?
The best player. You know, whoever that guy is who can come in and help us win games sooner than anybody else. We need guys who are productive players, that guys that are going to come in and produce right away. We're looking for instant coffee, essentially, with the first pick. We need somebody to come in right away and be an impact player. We've been fortunate in years past to get the Jonathan Ogdens, the Peter Bulwares, guys like that, the Jamal Lewises, the Chris McAllisters, guys in the first part of the draft who impact your team right away and become excellent players for you. We're looking for that guy.
So we're going to spend so much time talking about the number 6 pick, obviously, but there's kind of a ripple effect because when you look down the next rounds, in the 2nd round, 3rd round, you're picking to the top of those classes too. Do you think that when you look at the body of the class as a whole, you'll be able to get guys in those 2nd, 3rd, 4th rounds that maybe they make an impact this year where in previous years you may not get as much out of a 4th or a 3rd round pick?
Well, I think, for instance, the 36th pick, we've had a lot of luck in the last couple of years picking in the end of the 1st round. That pick to us should be a 1st round type player. You know, there's no doubt picking 36, we'll get a guy who's in our top 30 players in the draft. That's an additional 1st round pick. So essentially we're getting 2 1st round picks this year. Our 3rd round pick 70, that's almost like picking at the bottom of the 2nd round. That guy should be, and we look at that guy as a 2nd round type pick. So each round, picking at the top of the round gives you a little bit of an advantage because you're essentially picking at the bottom of that other round. So the quality of the player is going to be significantly different than if you're picking at the end of the round. So there's a lot of opportunity for us. You know, we're optimistic that we may get some comp picks in the 4th round, which will bolster that part of the draft for us, the 3rd day of the draft. And we think we have some ammunition to make this team good again.
Do you feel like there you actually have another first-round pick too with Brashad Perriman?
Oh, there's no doubt. There's no doubt. You know, I think Brashad is really going to open eyes this year and show people what he can do, his skill set, the type of kid he is, his ability. We're excited to see him on the field this year.
And lastly, Eric, when you talk about finding those good players, do you have a feeling that through free agency and through this draft class that you guys will be able to bring in enough talent to make last year a one-year blip? You know, be right back to where you expect to be
Well,
next
that's
year.
our challenge, and we've seen other teams do it. We believe we can do it. We've done it in the past. You know, the last year we had a bad season was 2007. We came back in 2008 and made the playoffs. So that's our challenge, that's our mission. I think between coaching and scouting, we're united in our efforts to do that. We've got ammunition to do it. We've got a lot of smart guys, evaluators, coaches, people working on the same page to get this team relevant. Again, we want to play postseason football. Coach Harbaugh wants to do it. Ozzie wants to do it. DeCosta wants to do it. Steve Bisciotti wants to. We all want to do it. That's our mission, and we want to get there as soon as we can.
Eric, it's always good to talk with you. Appreciate the time and enjoy the rest of your week here in Indianapolis.
Thank you.